On today's episode 12 of Sculpt N Create, I'm joined by someone who beautifully blends wellness, self-care, and creativity into a lifestyle and coaching practice that's as radiant as it is real. Meet Stephanie Keenan Ray, an inner radiance and well-being coach whose journey into holistic healing started all the way back in the 6th grade. After a car accident and a deep dive into chiropractic care and reflexology, Stephanie discovered a lifelong passion for how everything in the body is connected. She even helped her dad pass kidney stones faster with less pain thanks to her early reflexology skills. Over time, Stephanie kept learning energy work, healing arts, even equine massage. Yes, she can massage horses. She called herself a Renaissance woman for years, not quite sure how all her gifts will come together, but now she's in her element. She's the founder of the Natural Beauties Arts and Idea Creative Network and the creative Creativity Unleashed, a 10-week program that helps people reconnect with their creative spark and nourish themselves through intentional self-care. She's also merging her work with Gen B's Dare to Be networking group to form a unique VIP experience for both personal and professional growth. Stephanie has proved that when you follow your curiosity and honor your healing path, everything else eventually aligns. Today, she helps others light up from the inside out, blending creativity with care and wellness with wonder. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sculpt N Create, where fitness fuels creativity and helping artists, entertainers, and creators on their personal, physical, and career growth. I'm your host, Trea Da Fit Artist, and who I have with me today is Stephanie Keenan Ray. She's a inner radiance and well-being coach. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. All right, so before we begin, let everybody know where they can find you, set your social links and stuff out.
Yeah. So basically, I just have a link tree that's linktree.com, I think, /natural_beauties. So try to keep it nice and easy. That way it has all of the links to my social, to my websites, everything is on there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, y'all check Stephanie out. All right, so Stephanie, let's get into it. So tell us about what you do. You say you're inner radiance and well-being coach. What is that about?
So, started out, I've kind of been in pursuit of holistic wellness since I was a little kid, and I just kind of kept learning things. Like basically, when I was in 6th grade, I got in a car accident, and a couple months later, my mom's shoulder froze. So we went to see a chiropractor, and turned out we both had like slip discs in our neck and our back, and and I was just kind of amazed that in watching her be treated with PT and chiropractic that she got better naturally, and meanwhile we had gone to the hospital before and they're like, you're fine. So and I kept thinking, like, if we hadn't come, how would it have manifested in me? So I just became really, I had a wonderful chiropractor who he would talk to me about everything and how it's all connected. And so I started to make that connection, and I just was fascinated by it. So I wanted to run off to chiropractic school in 6th grade, but that wasn't going to happen. And I somehow got a reflexology book. So I taught myself reflexology, and I'd sit on the floor and like massage my dad's feet. And at the time, he would get a lot of kidney stones. So he said that it helped him pass them faster and with less pain. So I was just kind of like blown away that I could not only make him feel better, but help move things faster through what was going on. And so I just kind of kept learning things, and I eventually became licensed in aesthetics, so skincare. And but like when I got into it, the economy crashed, so it was one of those like up and down journeys all along. And so I kind of kept my hand in it, but I didn't really know where I was going. And then probably about 5 years ago, my friend got me into essential oils, and I had known about essential oils and been using them for like almost 20 years, but I started using doTERRA, and I realized like how pure they were and how good they were, and how different they were than what I was using. And so I started educating on those and teaching about skincare through oils, but also like how important our gut health is and our inner wellness is. And when I got into skincare, it was all about that natural skincare and holistic skincare. And really, if you've got acne going on, it's your either your hormones or how you're eating, or there's an underlying reason why your skin is upset, or even like rosacea or irritated, inflammation in the skin. There's always an underlying reason. So my approach had always been that like inside out way of caring for the skin. And then when COVID hit, I had been working in an office and all my friends had been saying, you need to get back into an aesthetics room. And I was like, yeah, tell that to my husband, because going to a commission-based job is not exactly easy. And
Right.
I was going to teach an essential oil class that was going to be me doing a whole facial and like teaching people how to make their own products, sort of thing like that. And we ended up taking it online. And that got me thinking like, oh, wait, I could teach about what I'm doing in the spa room on people in the class online, and then they could take care of themselves naturally with a little guidance, So I started doing that and kind of coaching around skin and wellness. And that was still a bit of a challenge. And now at this point, I've realized it's more about just real self-care rituals, creating and making it easy for people, like creating mini rituals, because so many people just don't have the time. Like they think, oh, you have to spend a half hour to an hour on self-care every day. And yes, there's different degrees of self-care that, yes, you're a fitness coach. Like, yes, you should go to the gym and you should work out, or at least take a walk around your neighborhood. Right. But like, the self-care of taking care of our skin or our bodies sometimes gets so pushed aside. And so I've kind of realized like, okay, if we can create little mini rituals throughout the day, and especially like me using essential oils, I use basically olive oil with some essential oils in it as my moisturizer most days. And so I just kind of like take 2 seconds and inhale it and have that like moment of calm from the oils, like where it calms my brain and makes me relax as I'm applying that to my skin. And I'm just kind of like grateful for these couple seconds. And then I go on with my day, right? When you're busy and you've got 1,000 things to do, if you can just take a few minutes, and it makes a big difference when you're doing like a bunch of those things. And then in addition to that, I also started a creative network, because I realized how important it is to tap into our creativity in order to help with basically that self-care, that inner radiance. And from that, I've created a class where I basically, each week we go through a different theme and we kind of talk about some self-care. We talk about how creativity helps our business. And then we also talk about, we do some art, so that you leave after 90 minutes, feeling happy and joyful and like you've just accomplished something, but also like it's more than just creating art. It's actual self-care, So so basically taking care of people from the inside out, helping them find joy, find happiness, being able to let their own inner light shine, but also I have those skills to help them with, if they do have a challenge where they need a little extra help and support naturally. And then obviously I have plenty of friends that I can refer to if I'm like, this is more than I can handle.
Right.
Right.
I got you. Okay. So I want to talk about the skincare a little bit more. When we think about artists and entertainers, they are constantly in the public's eye. So their appearance definitely going to take precedence with that and so forth. You want to look good no matter what type of career you in, but you want to look good going out into society. With that said, like you say, is many rituals and stuff like that you can do. So talk about that. How long did that take? And also, too, another thing is, it's a lot for us men. We don't often look into, self-care. We just get some face soap and wash, and that's it. So do you help people that, do you help people like such as men as well with this, or is it more so women that come to you, talk about that?
It's funny. It is mostly women, but I do help men. And when it comes to skincare, men are honestly far more dedicated than most. Like a man who has the guts to come to an aesthetics room is typically like a very loyal customer once they trust you, right? So, and it's funny because lately I've been getting a lot of moms bringing their teenage boys, and I think that's great. Like just getting them like into it, you know. Some of them listen and some of them don't, but in all honesty, when it comes to the essential oils and skincare, it's easier than typical skincare. One of the things I realized with using oils is like all of the essential oils have these amazing healing properties. Like they're almost all like antiseptic, antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal. Like they've all got amazing properties like that, and they're very versatile. So like two of my favorite oils are frankincense and lavender. And frankincense it helps with cellular turnover and renewal of our skin cells. So it actually works on a cellular level, healing the cells. And it's very calming and soothing. And then lavender is also super calming, soothing, healing. We kind of call it like the Swiss Army knife of essential oils, because like you can use it for burns, you can use it for cuts, you can, like all sorts of things. But at the same time, it's like calming and soothing for your emotions. And when I think about it for skincare, those two, if I only had those two oils, I could honestly treat every skincare problem, because when you've got acne, it's inflamed and irritated and probably oftentimes has some sort of like bacterial, fungal yuck, so it helps calm, soothe, heal all of that. But the frankincense is also great for, say, an aging skin that needs that cellular turnover so that it's healthy and youthful looking and glowing, right? And yeah, so it kind of covers both bases, and then they're both so gentle that somebody who's uber sensitive could also use that too. So yeah, like I feel like in using essential oils, you can make it so simple. Like you can literally find a good face wash, which I can definitely refer things to people. And then either I can make custom blends for people, or I can tell them how to do it themselves. And you can use that as your moisturizer. And depending, especially people who go to the gym a lot, like having a toner is always nice, because even if you don't get that proper face wash, like just kind of toning your skin and throwing some moisturizer on and before working out and whatever just helps cleanse the skin a little bit more. That's one of those habits that, like especially younger men don't want to necessarily take a shower till they get home, right? So they'll, like when they're at the gym, they'll just kind of, or after football practice or something, they'll just kind of splash some water on their face and go, right? Or they do nothing, and then, then their skin is angry. So at least a little toner and a moisturizer, you're good to go. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like once I realized that, I was like, this is a game changer for skincare,
Most definitely. And like you said, it doesn't take a long time to do it as well. Or like how long would you say a normal, what the rituals you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, normal like cleanse and moisturize shouldn't take very long at all. Like using oils, like I use a lot of like either olive oil or argan oil as my main base oil, and then I put the essential oils into it. Some people, like especially like women who put makeup on, they might be like, oh, I feel all oily, right? Personally, I just kind of put it on, go get dressed, let my skin soak it up. But I don't wear makeup really unless I absolutely have to. But I have clients who they'll kind of go about their business, maybe grab a cup of coffee and then put their makeup on, and it's fine. So, but the typical just like wash and put your thing on, it's fast. It's a couple minutes, if that. And then, you can treat yourself once a week or month, do a little mask or something, but it's not like there's no real rules to it, right? So long as you're taking care of your skin, as long as you're like giving it a little love, you're good. Yeah.
Okay. And when you just say skin and not just the face as well, is it, all over, Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely could do all over. I think with all over, and especially the fitness wellness people, they may have heard of like dry brushing their skin with the dry brush that helps like move the lymph and stuff. If you put oils on that, like citrus oils, it really helps detoxify the body. So things like that are, would probably be very interesting to your audience, because they can be doing it's a really actually quick treatment, like 2-3 minutes before you get into the shower. You use a dry brush, so it looks kind of like those brushes that are on the stick that people use to wash their back, except
They they call it like they ain't a loofah, is it?
well, the loofah is more like the spongy ones,
Sponge thing.
but the
Okay.
dry brush, I wish I had it with me. It's basically
Yeah.
like a wooden handle with like
Yeah.
regular
I know what you're talking about.
bristles, and then you just
Okay.
kind of brush, and you brush from your ankles up, and you're always going towards your heart, and then you go like you do your arms towards your heart, and it helps move the lymph and helps detoxify the body. And it's just amazing because, you know, like helps with cellulite, helps with like all the different things that people worry about, like, you know, if you get water retention, it helps kind of move that sort of thing. So yeah, it's very cool, and that you can do like right before the shower, so that could be like a mini ritual. Yeah, there's definitely little tricks and tips that I have for different concerns, and then yeah, depending on the degree of like I really don't want to age much, and you know I'm getting wrinkles, like that. One of my favorite things is like there's a wash off stone. It's like this jade stone that you just kind of like scrape along your skin, and it sounds crazy, but it really actually it works. That, and the other thing that sounds also crazy, and you'll feel crazy doing it, is face yoga. Like if you go on YouTube, there's so many videos about face yoga, but it's like it's a workout for your face, so your muscles literally feel it after doing a couple movements. And so like I'll tell people, like, go watch some videos, figure out like one movement for each section of your face that you're concerned about, and like within minutes you're, you know, of doing these, you know, yeah, you probably do like a couple sets of each thing, so it takes a couple seconds, so you know, a couple minutes you'll have done your whole face and you feel it, like you're like, oh my gosh, you know. And so it's kind of amazing. There's lots of different little tricks of ways to care for ourselves naturally.
What comes to mind, I seen something a while back where they put something in their mouth, and I think they kind of like bite on it.
Yeah, the chewing
and
thing.
Everything. Yeah, the chewing thing. Is there truth to that, or is just something?
Yeah, I've
kind of
heard that it really does tighten your jaw muscles, so you'll get that like defined jaw.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who was really into that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be so much stuff out there. You just don't really know what's what, man. You'd be like, man, that look crazy, you know. But
it does. It looks
totally
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was sometimes it might work, but like, you know, it's some I have known, like in the gym, you when you doing certain things, it looks funny to somebody else that's not really trained or don't know what the circumstances are. But when you see these infomercials that come on TV late at night, you know, like when nobody else seeing it, you kind of like, is this really true? Why was they playing in prime hours? Yeah, stuff like that. But so for the skincare, do you help with like psoriasis and people with eczema and all that stuff like that too as well? Does this help with that?
Yeah, those are some of my favorite people to work with because they've kind of hit the wall typically. You know, usually they've seen the doctors. The doctors have given them things that don't necessarily work. They've probably seen a few estheticians in their life too, and some people just don't get that degree of sensitive skin. As you can tell, I'm a pale white girl who's super sensitive and reactive to things. Like, you touch my skin, it turns red. And so I've had my fair share of skin challenges, so I totally get it. Then, yeah, I've found a lot of very simple, natural ways to deal with the skin. One of my best friends, she had the most extreme case of eczema, that like literally the most extreme I've ever seen, because her hairstylist changed her hair color for me, like the brand that she was using. And so she ended up with like an eczema rash that started on her scalp, but it then eventually became her whole face. And it was like that thick, irritated, angry skin. There was a lot at play, like her gut health was off, and you know, so it was a combination of doing the skincare that would help calm the skin, and then also managing what was going on in her gut. But because she had an enormous amount of stress in her life too, so I think the hair color was just the catalyst that, you know, made it all go crazy. But But yeah, we managed to calm it down. And her, when she came to me, her goal was to be able to leave the house with less makeup because she felt like she was trying to hide it, but then she'd put the makeup on and felt like it just looked worse. So slowly, with some facials and the skincare that I recommended, and like a regime that she did, which was basically, you know, very simple natural products and once a week using a specific mask that helps like calm and pull out impurities, and then managing her gut health a little bit, the skin started to clear pretty quickly, and she actually started leaving the house without makeup like far before her face was truly clear because her confidence was getting better. So like that's kind of the other element of it, is like when you're working on it, when you're empowering people to like have the tools in their hands, they get empowered, they feel more confidence even
Right,
before their skin looks like truly perfect, you know? So that
right,
was
right.
kind of amazing. But yeah, we did end up clearing it up, and she hasn't had
Okay,
a breakout since. So yeah.
okay. It was because my niece,
Hmm.
she battles with eczema. My sister, my mom a little bit, but not as much as my niece does, and so forth. So that's
Yeah,
why I asked, like certain things that they can do. I might tell her about that, where she can look into some oils and stuff like that, or maybe even talk to you as well on that
absolutely.
issue. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I like that you said that once they start clearing certain things up for their skin, it's not only about the aesthetics of it, but it's also to the confidence level of it. You know, like how you
Absolutely.
feel in your own skin, and also too, you were talking about the calming effect that certain oils you use and make you feel good and everything. I don't think a lot of people talk about that when it comes to face care. So that's
Exactly.
one in itself. And I think about when I was growing up, I had a bit of an acne, situation where I had blemishes and stuff like that and everything. And I think my mom had those same issues, and she was struggling with it, and she seen me with it. I guess it kind of triggered something in her where she got me
Hmm.
into the doctor and try to rectify the situation and end up getting better after that. But I noticed that a lot where people looking a certain way in their skin, they kind of feel different. Their confidence level, like you said before, is down. They
Hmm.
think second guessing themselves. A lot of things. So, do you have any stories like that where
Oh
a
yeah.
person come to you with certain skin or appearance issues, and then you fix it, and then they have a whole level of confidence
Yeah.
or outgoing outlook on life? Can you talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, actually, I mean, I definitely have had some clients, but my own self, like, I I sometimes get perioral dermatitis, so it's like a dermatitis around my eyes, nose, and mouth. And the first time I got it was like right after I got married, because it had been an enormous amount of stress between getting married, but also I had the worst boss of my life at the time. And then it's happened a few other times. And the few times that I've had breakouts, it tends to be between like November and February. So it is also that time where holidays, you're not eating well, there's again stress, there's all these different things. And the last case that I had that was really bad was like this, my eye would get really irritated and inflamed and raw looking, and I was working in an office, and I just remember one of my coworkers being like, "So Steph, what's going on there?" And I was just like so embarrassed, and at the time my son was a baby, so I was taking him to a chiropractor, or not a chiropractor, an acupuncturist who helped with food allergies because he had sensitivities to dairy and gluten. And so I walked into her office, and it was funny because I had literally seen a webinar the day before about anti-inflammatory foods. So I was like, okay, I think I need to do this. And then I walk into her office, and she was like, "You're the one who needs to be on the table." So she bumped my mom's appointment to take care of me. And so I got acupuncture treatment. I literally that night
Uh,
started eating like these anti-inflammatory foods, and then on
uh,
top of it I had researched a new blend and made a special blend that was basically argan oil with like the tiniest bit of tea tree and lavender. And or maybe it was the Time one. Either way, I made this special blend, and the next week I went to see her, and she goes, I had to talk to your body for like 20 minutes to figure out what I needed to treat, because so much had shifted in like a week. You know, my skin, within days, my skin cleared up and everything. So it was like just an enormous relief to realize, like, okay, between eating right and also kind of a little, like, there definitely was, like, I realized that I was under an enormous amount of stress again, that I was like, okay, all the things have been compiling and I need to just attack, right?
Right.
So between doing a little self-care, using the oil and eating right, and at that, I just added a couple things that are more calming to your system, right? That are going to help, you know, versus like completely shifting everything, you know? And, you know, some fermented foods, some blueberries, whatever, you know, like I didn't go hardcore, and it was just amazing, the shift, right, in my body. So, and that's been one of those things now. So like, it's like I start to realize, like, okay, I'm starting to get stressed. Okay, time to calm down, do some meditation, or do what makes me relax, right? And yeah, so that's one of those things that I also like to talk about with people too, is like how to pay attention. So that's kind of why, when it comes to the mini rituals, it's not just the skincare, it's doing the things that are going to help you relax, help you find more joy, help you de-stress. So whether that's listening to music and dancing around the house for a few minutes, or, you know, going and doing a workout, or taking a walk, or whatever it is that makes you de-stress, you know, go for it.
Okay.
You know?
I got you. And I like that you put in there about diet. I don't think a lot of people think when it comes to their skin or their skin health, diet is a part of that. And I don't talk about it as much as a fitness coach, but you know, definitely protein help you with your skin, antioxidants, and omega 3s and stuff like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, helping with skincare. But like I said again, nobody talks about like you know, for us eating this helps with the skincare. We always think it got to be something topical we got to do to remedy that. So do you tell people like a certain, maybe not being like in a nutritionist, so to speak, but do you kind of like tell them what they should be eating or what to steer away from to help with their skin as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like to, it's kind of that basic knowledge of, so yeah, not nutritionist style, but just being like, you know, our fruits, our vegetables are super important. You know, they say eat the rainbow, right? So you want to have those, like, as least processed food as possible, you know, just eating the whole foods. And yeah, protein's super important. And those foods are gonna fuel you, you know, the real foods are gonna fuel you, and there's not gonna be that excess stuff. So, you know, like when we were younger, we've probably heard like, you shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. And like, I realized as I got older, like, it's funny, the things that I just kind of innately learned from my mom, like, she never said to me like, well, okay, she kind of did, but but she was very much like a eat the healthy, like, she was a eat the healthy foods person without really preaching it, but she knew enough to be like she conscious, and like, processed foods she knew wasn't that great for you, right? She didn't tell us we couldn't necessarily have it per se, but like in moderation. So like, even when we were little, she'd give us like 2 cookies at a time. To this day, I still take cookies 2 at a time, because that's my portion that I was given as a child.
Right. Know? Okay. Well,
and
I like that.
Yeah, it's just like the little things like that. But yeah, like, it definitely is important to just. But she, you know, I realized as an adult, like, yeah, primarily she did do that shop around the outside of the grocery store, like the, you know, the milk, the fruits and vegetables, the meats, you know, and then, yeah, there were the certain aisles we needed to hit. We obviously hit all the aisles, but we didn't necessarily buy things from all of them, you know, and yeah, so it's, yeah, and everything in moderation. That's the biggest thing I think that is
Definitely.
super important, you know, like, yeah, there's certain things that you totally certain people want to avoid, or like right now we've never really allowed soda in my house, and my son has basically gotten himself a job with our neighbor helping him fix cars, and he's 10, and so he like sweeps the floor or whatever, and he sometimes gets paid in a soda, and he just thinks it's the greatest thing in the world, and I'm trying to just be like, it's okay, it's fine. It's so funny.
Yeah, okay. And I'm glad that you said that too as well, because a lot of habits when people come to me, it bees where for a diet, because they're gonna be the biggest thing, for it's coming with your fitness goals before it's anything dealing with the physical, for it's working out in a certain sense. But I think the biggest hurdle for most people to come across when it comes to their diet is breaking the old habits that they had when they were a child. And
Yeah.
so it is very important for the parents to instill that into them, because they grow up into, like you said, into adulthood carrying some of them same practices on. But in my household, growing up in my community, we be told to eat all our food, so
Yes.
so that that grows up to be where no matter what we put on our plate, it can be too much, but we need to finish it, and stuff like that. So that causes the gluttony part to overeat. Yeah, so things like that, I think people need to understand that when you raising your kids, that you kind of like, and it could be they got that too. So it's a whole cycle, like that they grew up like that, so they raising their kid kind of the same way. So it's certain cycles that you got to kind of like break the habits of, and then to be able to to navigate that into adulthood and everything for the better, for their health for a long run. I say that, I'll just say that starts in the home first, and everything for everything else. But okay, cool. Yeah, so I like that, and so forth for skincare. And then you did talk about, we'll talk about that, and then we're gonna move on to your creativity and business as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the wellness side of skincare. You were talking about the calming effects of it, and what other type of effect do you feel, for as, I guess, not like I said, not the aesthetic wise, but for calming and other effect that you can feel when having a certain skincare or routine or regimen going on?
Yeah, I think when you have a certain regimen, like especially, I think your skin just starts to get, it just gets happy, and you have less of those challenges. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm the 40-something-year-old woman that really didn't get acne as a kid. Like, very seldom got it as a kid, and now that I am a practicing esthetician, I get it randomly, and I'm like, but that is hormones, so there's not as much control over the hormone element, but you can manage how to care for it, how to calm it down, how to so it definitely, again, it's that confidence in knowing how to care for your skin, confidence in knowing, like, it's okay, like, I don't like that this hormonal acne just came up, but I know I can treat it. I know I can calm it down. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of people, once they have a good system, their skin stays pretty clear. It stays pretty happy. And then definitely, if we do dive into the deeper things of, managing stress, maybe looking at gut health, that sort of thing. Like, one of the other big things between diet and then nutritional supplements of like probiotics and digestive enzymes, so that they are actually absorbing the nutrients from their food, is super important. But I do find, and then sleep's the other big one. So sleep, stress, and diet, those are the big inside out ones that really matter, because they're gonna, if you're taking care of those, then your mental health gets better, your skin gets better, your body feels better, you have more energy, all the things happen that then make you just feel like a better human. So
Okay, gotcha. All right, so let's talk about the creative business, because you kind of in similar proximity of what I'm doing, bridging wellness and creativity together. So with that, with your creative business, you talk about your skincare. You kind of like teach them on the skincare, and then you also teach them how to be creative, or what that creativity does for them. And then you say you do artwork. So let's expound on that a little bit more. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So it started with, I started a creative network. So basically a couple times a month we have different calls where people, and it's all virtual,
Okay.
people can hop on these calls. There's two a month that are called the Creative Sanctuary, and those, everybody just kind of brings their own creative project to work on, and for an hour on Monday, it's Monday noontime Eastern, that Monday they can just do something creative for an hour, chit chat with the other people on the call, and everybody kind of feels like it really just shifts their energy. It starts their week off on a right foot, but the energy, they feel more joyful, more happy. That innovative, creative thinking kind of carries into their day. It doesn't just carry into the day, it carries into the week. So they've from the people who show up, they feel it go beyond just Mondays. And so that's been beautiful. And then we have a creative playhouse call once a month. That's on a Saturday, usually around noon Eastern. And that is a trainer-led creative call where we do something creative as a group. So like this month's kind of silly. We're doing rock painting this month, but because I figured like making cool rocks that we can paint and either put in our gardens or put on trails, people do that. And it's kind of inspiring and happy and just creates more happiness in the world. Figured that might be fun, but we've done some really cool sessions, and usually they're, for the most part, ones where you just need pen and paper or markers or whatever, watercolors, things like that. We try to keep it simple, keep the supplies easy for people, so it's not like they have to run out and get all these things to participate. Pardon me. And then because I wanted this to be a community where people grew personally and professionally, I also brought in about a lot of my friends who could educate on their expertise. So I have these Inspire and Aspire workshops. So there's a finance person who teaches about different things, and there's a business coach, and then there's like myself who talks about skincare and wellness.
Right.
So and those are, we try to have at least one trainer a month, at least one of those a month, and anything that we do host, we record it so that even if you missed it, you can see it later as a member of the community. And so those were the calls within the community that I have. And then as it was growing, I realized I really could do more to bridge all of the things that I do, right? And I started this course, this 10-week workshop called Creativity Unleashed, that is so fun because we do some self-care, and we talk about creativity and how it affects our business, and then we create art. And there's a theme each week. Like the first session of this I started it in June, and the first night I said to everybody, like, why did you say yes to this? And first off, I was kind of blown away how many people had some degree of art trauma. Like one of the women actually said, I remember in high school, this teacher picked up a piece of art and said, who did this? It looks like a kindergartner did it. And so from that point on, she just was like, I can't do art. So they all kind of had some story like that where somebody had told them that they can't do art and they just wanted to try. So it's been interesting, and because they've, and I said to them, I'm like, well, first off, this is a very non-judgmental zone. Like that is not going to happen here. Secondly, art's in the eye of the beholder. Like there are people that look at Picasso's art and say like that it looks like a kindergartner did it, and it sells for millions of dollars.
Right.
So again, building their confidence around that, working through emotions and ideas and thoughts, and allowing them to create and play has been amazing. And the response has been really great. So it's been really nice to kind of merge all of my knowledge and make it in a way that it truly helps people have more confidence and joy and feel like they can do it. These little sessions of art, and it's for them. It doesn't have to be something massive that they put out into the world, but if they get to that point, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, and I definitely, like that aspect of it. For as when you say you talk about that, when you talk about creativity helps them in their business or in their life, is all good. Creativity help them in their business or like how did so? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the creativity definitely, when you tap into your creativity, it boosts that innovative thinking, and problem solving skills, and it just allows you to kind of think outside the box. So when it comes to business, it definitely can help us just be more open to how we interact with others, how we approach a new project, things like that,
Yeah.
And so it can be really powerful in business. And then just life, I think, I was part of a creative group like this before that was just the bring your creative art and we'll do this for an hour. And I always noticed that on the days that I participated, I just was a better, like, happier human. And, whether it was with my family or others, and I was kind of blown away by how much happier I was. And I don't think I'm a
Yeah.
miserable human, but I was
Yeah.
like, wow, I am a much nicer human
I
to
get
be around. So
it.
so yeah, I was just like, I need more of this in my life. And when the group that I was with, they were in France, and like they changed their time to an absolutely insane time for an East Coaster. So I just, after sitting on it a while, I said, I got to create this so that there's more people who can feel this joy, and they can show up better for their family, they can show up better for their work. Yeah.
Okay. And like for the creative classes, or you call it a class? Is
Yeah,
it a class?
workshops. Yep.
Okay. Workshop. Okay. For that, do y'all what type of art or creativity do y'all express or explore? Is it
So
just
yeah,
paints or what?
so for the let's see, like the 10-week workshop that I did, that I send out a box for with supplies. So it comes with like a sketchbook, and then watercolors, markers, I think some colored pencils, and we basically try a lot of different mediums, but it is a lot of abstract, because I want people to not feel like they have to, like, people are going to sit there and judge themselves if they, but so the first exercises are a lot more abstract, like let's just
See
create,
what happens. Yeah.
and just I do guide them in certain exercises, and then others I'm like, let's just play, and I
Yeah.
show them some different funky things to do. But like the other day, we did a lesson where it was they were supposed to do a self portrait, and I said, but then I proceeded to show them like other pieces of art, that your self portrait doesn't have to be a specific drawing of your face. It could be symbolisms that represent you. It could be um, abstract. It can be however you want to do it. And so it was really cool to see what each person created. Like one person like made almost a little almost stick figure of herself, but she put the things that are important to her around her. And then this other woman she had a challenging childhood and had lots of edges growing up, and how she's changed. So she made a heart, but one side of the heart was very jagged and grays and black colors, and the other side was very colorful and like soft curves, and like it was just so beautiful, such a like unique representation of herself, that it made total sense once you saw it. So yeah, we play with a lot of different mediums, and we try to give them freedom, and some, and I do teach a little bit, but it's more like, let's just explore, let's just see what comes out. Yeah.
Okay.
And then during the creative network, the Saturday sessions that are led by trainers, like we have one trainer, her name's Angel. She guides some really cool calls. Like she did this one call that was called her conjuring trees, and basically it was like a meditation
Right.
and creative drawing class. It was so interesting. Like at the very beginning, we were just like breathing and making lines, and that became the trunk of the tree. And then in the top of the tree, she wanted us to like put in it things that we want more of in our life. So you
Okay.
could write, or you could draw a picture. So like more love or whatever, and you write the things, and then we were just kind of drawing circles around them to represent the leaves of the tree. And while we were doing that, she was like talking the whole time like it was a meditation, like, accepting these things into your life. And then
Yeah.
down the bottom of the tree were the things we wanted to let go of. And so, like, I don't know, stress,
Okay.
right? We want to get rid of our
Right.
stress. And so then she'd have us like kind of circle around it, and she kind of talked about like, oh, okay, you were great at this point, but like it's time to let go of you. And then we like sent it back up, like sending its own energy back up into the tree so that the other things could grow. And it was such an amazing process that she led us through, that it was very unique and really, really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, basically, she was a trainer as well. That's what the people that
Yeah,
you say
she is more of a trainer. She's an art trainer.
Okay.
So like on
Okay,
those
art trainer,
calls,
okay.
like we do have some proper guidance.
Okay. Okay, cool. I got you. So like, do you like in this creative network, like it sound like wellness and creativity in it together.
That's
So what are the type of people that you have to teach to the people that's in your workshop or the members in your workshop?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's the creative ones, and then the regular, the trainers for the Inspire and Aspire workshops. Those, we have all sorts of different people. I have my friend who teaches about our strengths and how we can use our strengths in our lives to show up better, So he's a Gallup strengths coach, and he just talks about that. There was a business coach who kind of focuses on confidence and things like that. Another woman who, my friend who's in finance, she did one class that was all about like financial savings to match your goals. And then she's doing another one that's going to be about how even at like any level of life, you can get into charitable donations and giving. So like you don't have like, a lot of people kind of think like, oh, I gotta wait till I make a ton of money before I can start giving back, versus like there's so many ways to do it. Especially as entrepreneurs, and even have it like benefit your business. So she was going to talk about that. And we've got somebody who does like business management stuff, some online web stuff. We've got all sorts of different things. Yeah, like our internet person is like amazing. She knows so much. So yeah, we have lots of different styles of people. A couple writers that are going to help, people tap into how to tell story, or how, which is very useful for social media and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different options.
Okay, yeah. So that's I'm intrigued because, like I said, we doing some of the same similar work. Like, because that's what I'm building up to, is my own network as well for artists and entertainers and stuff like that as well, where they not only get the fitness side of things, where we kind of guide them and everything on fitness, and they can share experience and motivate each other, but also on that creative side, they be able to share their creative process and their ideas, and and kind of vibe off that and everything to what they need to bring out into the world and so forth, and even make those connections and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So where they can produce more opportunities and open more doors for them. You never know who they can meet that would be in the network. So that's something like similar to what I'm trying to do, and also too, like you said, bringing other people on to talk about certain aspects, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be on the creative side, whether it's something fitness related or health related or whatever that case may be. So when you do your stuff, are you doing it particularly online, or is it in person?
It's all online for us. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. So like I'm in my head when you were talking about it, I'm thinking like, okay, she doing this like art, that she doing this in class, and so they can show the work and she can go by and everybody kind of talk about it and stuff like that. But that's a different dynamic. So how did that work online?
Online we just a lot of it, typically we'll just kind of go through the lesson, and then people can kind of show their work at the end if they want to, which most people do. And it's cool to see, even when we do the the creative sanctuary where everybody brings their own creative thing. Like at the end, I always say, like, so just show us what you did, you know? And it's cool because people get inspired by each other, you know? Like, even, you know, I always say, like, one of the things I want is the people who don't consider themselves creative to join. So I'll say, like, just bring your coloring book and, like, color.
Yeah.
And it's so cool how so many people will see what they've been working on in a coloring book, and the other people are like, that's beautiful, you did such a great, you know, so it just helps. But yeah, like yeah, at the end of a regular class, like we'll just hold them up and kind of be like, look what I did, you know. And it's neat to see how people progress or how different, you know, especially like the group led ones where we're all doing basically the same thing, but everybody's is different, you know, so that's fun to see too, you know. And it's not just skill level that makes it different, it's just our styles, right? So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Most definitely. Because like I said, when I took graphic design in college, but I didn't finish it and so forth. So, but I was an artsy person growing up, so I knew how to draw and stuff like that. And to give you a quick story, and when I was in school, I kind of missed the deadline. I was a week late going into class, and I was in design. It was a design class when the teacher or the what you want to call him, and he was like, "Okay, this is what we've been doing this weekend, and you need to have it by this day." And I didn't really know what he didn't tell me what it was, how to do it. He just told me what it was, but he didn't tell me like how it needed to be done and stuff like that. So I knew this girl that took the class before. She was a graphic design major too as well. She kind of like knew him and knew what he was wanting. Practically, she did the work for me. But you know, and everything. And I turned that into him. He was kind of suspicious, but he like, okay, I'm watching you and everything from now on. But he liked it. And then from there, it was all my own work. And I'm looking at the people that's in there. I'm thinking they better than me, and I'm seeing the stuff that he want. Based on the stuff that he want, I'm like, man, I can't even do that, because my thing is I can draw from looking at something, you know, and mimic that. But coming from my head, that's something I want to do, where I can just draw from my head and put that on paper. But that's something I probably need to take me some art classes to do that, you know, just because. But anyway, he was looking at some of my work, and he was being you know, impressed by some of the things I was doing. And I'm like, okay, ain't no way he gonna look at mine versus what I see other people doing and so forth. But he was so impressed with some of my work that he actually took it to show other classmates, you know, other classes that and everything in my work. I'm like, you know, that was something, you know, I was like, man, you know, I wouldn't, you know, realizing that. Then I was in the art class too as well, and realized that I could like do self-portrait. And again, it's still a portrait, a picture of me, but I was doing I did about maybe 90% of it. Other students were helping me with it or whatever, but for the most part I seen I could do this too as well. So it's very refreshing once you like explore different things that you didn't think you could do and everything. It does make you, like you were saying, it's freeing, and you become a lot more happier. Like I said, when you creating, you kind of like tuning everything out. You know, you tune everything out, all the stress, the worries, or the care that's going on. You don't care anything about that at this moment, but write what you're doing. And I think that's what you feel so much. It's kind of like therapeutic. So I think that's what most people don't realize when it comes to creativity. We all creative in our own right. It's just what is your means of creativity that help you in your day to day, you know, and stuff like that. So I do like that you're doing. So what made you think of doing a network and also just combining all the three together, you know, for us, you know, the creativity, the business side of it, and the skincare?
Yeah. So I think I created the network because I realized how much so the other group that I was part of, the woman, we just got together once a month and we just brought a project to work on and we would chit chat. But there were a lot of like actual artists in that group, like paid graphic designers, there was an architect, and sometimes they would be working on work instead of like fun work. And her whole concept was like, this is supposed to be fun work. Like the first call, I remember she was making cards for her nieces or something, you know, like just like pretty decorative watercolors or whatever. And and I liked that premise, but then a couple, you know, as some of the later calls that I attended, she was bringing in people who were talking about things that could help you in your business. And then I'm like a learner type person. So I'm sitting there like trying to take notes instead of doing art. And so that dynamic, I was like, oh, bummer. And then when I shifted that I couldn't be going to those anymore, I really sat on it for quite a long time. And I was like, I really missed that. I wish she would change the time, you know? And then finally, I just said to myself, I'm going to do it because I need this, right? And hopefully the people will come. And then the element that I wanted to shift was that I wanted that designated time for creating, and I wanted the time where people could be learning in ways that would help them grow themselves, their business, whatever it may be. And so that was an element that I just wanted to add there. And then it was a little bit into it. Like I started the Creative Network last September, like was when I actually got off the ground with it. And we kind of slowly added things to it. You know, like we slowly added the trainers and the creative Saturdays, things like that. And and then just recently was really when I realized, like, because I was starting to talk about, like, so I do a talk for like networking groups and stuff about the mini rituals, and I was adding creativity in there as an element of it. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I could create something that does bring all of this together. And that's, you know, and probably a couple months ago was when the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, wait, I can make this happen. And I created the course that we do dive into all the different elements. So yeah, added elements of self-care and whatnot. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
I definitely, man. I mean, it's an entrepreneurial grind. So what are you on? What platform are you delivering your creative network?
Yeah, we just do it on Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
Yeah, we just hop on Zoom and share that way. It's very, you know, that's one part. I feel like I'm still learning what are the best ways to
do
package it all up, you know, as far as like, so like right now when we do like the Inspire and Aspire workshops, I record those and I put them into a YouTube that's only available to members, you know, like a link that's available just to members and things like that. Like, so I'm just trying to figure out how do I do it, you know, so that it all works out in the right way. But, you know, that's part of growing a business. You just keep learning, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we probably need to link up on that, because like I said, that's my biggest hurdle is like getting to the audience, the artists, and entertainers, to get them into the thing. I know what it is, what it can be, but it's just really putting it together and bringing awareness to it. That's my biggest hurdle right now. What I would say that you can use, have you heard of the community platform like Circle, Mighty Networks and stuff like that? I'm on Mighty Networks.
I've heard of them. Yep.
That's the one I use. That can definitely help, and they integrate with Zoom,
nice,
and everything like that. So you can put that together. So I'm to help you package and stuff like that, where and that you can do all the plans, and all, if you're doing a plan, you can have all that in there internally, and however you want to do it. But it just like basically having your own private Facebook. In a
that's
sense,
awesome.
You know, for your, I would say you probably want to look into that. And to expounding on there or whatever. Circle is another one. I liked it. Mighty Networks more for it because the branding capabilities of it. Circle didn't seem like it have all that, or like school more is a teaching platform. It ain't more of on the creative side of things and stuff like that. But yeah, okay. But yeah, so but yeah, that would definitely, we probably like, I can see some synergy there that we can probably like connect in certain ways.
Absolutely.
To help each other out. Yeah. Now, but like, is it anything else that we haven't talked about or discussed or covered that you would like to tell everybody or talk about?
No. Okay. Yeah, no. We no, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool, cool. I try to make sure I ask questions that cover a wide range of topics. You thought about something?
Yeah, I forgot. Well, I don't know how I forgot, but I also co-host a podcast too. So that's the
Okay,
only
yeah,
other
there you
thing.
go.
But I
Yeah,
mean, when you go to my link tree, you can find it. But yeah, it's called Smiling Souls, and it's kind of, it's kind of geared towards that 40-something woman who's got a lot of plates spinning and all, taking
right.
care of all the things. And again, not necessarily taking care of themselves, but kind of
Mm-hmm.
realizing they should. So
Mm-hmm.
giving them resources, tools, but we also like to have fun and be a little silly, but also tap into, I don't know, spiritual kind of things. Not like
Okay.
we pull oracle cards at the beginning, kind of for fun, but to also kind of see like what's our message that we need today, that sort of thing. Um, but it's fun, and I'm kind of amazed by how much I've enjoyed doing it. But
I know that it is
uh,
fun. Yeah.
it is, and you know, again, I've realized that it's another element of how I'm helping people be better versions of themselves. It's just another outlet for that, so
Yeah. Basically, extension of what you already doing for the first two, the
exactly.
skincare, the creative network. Like I said, the same thing I'm doing. We in the same kind of in the journey and stuff like that. So I like that. So you said it's you and another host, right?
Yes, my friend
Okay.
Wendy Tadiucci.
Okay. Okay. And again, like I said, what is it fully about? And everything, so people can kind of understand more. Like you said,
Yeah,
smiling souls. Go ahead.
Smiling Souls. So basically, we talk to all sorts of different people. Sometimes they do have a specific skill or something that they're sharing that helps our audience members, but sometimes it's just telling their story, like helping them tell their story and just hearing about what they've been through or and how they've overcome certain things and whatnot. So it's the feedback from people who have been guests is that it's like the most
I'm about to ask you that.
authentic, and like we just have a deep conversation. We go a little deeper. Like some people go on podcasts, to promote their thing. That's
Right.
not the
Yeah.
main purpose of coming on our
Yeah.
thing. Like, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
promote you, but like we want
Right.
to have a conversation and get to know
Yeah.
you. And so the people who have been guests have truly been like, this is an awesome, like they've really enjoyed the experience because it does go deeper. We ask questions that most people don't, so,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've been happy to hear that, and happy that that's the response from our guests, who are that they're enjoying it, that they're like, yeah, yeah. And we're just hoping that it translates for the audience to the same thing, that they enjoy listening to these stories.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a slow grind to really get that audience, find your voice, who your target is, your main demographic, and so forth. So that's what I'm finding out. But
Yep.
I like the process too. Like I said, this is fun. I didn't think this would be as fun as it was. It was something I wanted to do later on because I look at artists, entertainers. When you think about them, when you see them, they out there constantly on TV shows, talk shows, podcasts, and stuff like that, to promote whatever they got going on.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was thinking. I said I need to do that, but I wasn't thinking of doing it so early right now. I wanted to get the
Yeah.
community out the ground, get my fitness
Yeah.
business into a certain way or whatever before I did this. But it just happened to be where I needed to go ahead and do it. And somebody had kind of shed some light on it and put me into that thinking mode. And when my gears get turning about something, I can't turn it off. As I know you
Exactly.
probably know as a creator, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When it's stuck in our head, we got to go on and execute, and everything like that. So that's what it is. Okay, cool. But I like that. So y'all got that going on as well. Anything else you want to talk about that we haven't talked or put on?
No, I
Okay.
think we were good. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, cool. So, oh, you're welcome, man. And so before we get out of here, is there anything that you would think that people that listen to this, though, what would you say biggest takeaway from what we discussed here today, or what do you think they should learn or get from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if any of it sparks interest, like reach out to me. I'd love to help you out if there's something specific, skincare or oil wise that you're curious about. If it's just, everybody's welcome to come as a guest to the Creative Network and check it out, see if it's the right fit for you. I would love to have you join us for that. And I will, my 10-week program, we're going to be launching another one in the fall in September. So there will be opportunities to pop into that program again if that sounds of interest to you as well, where we can dive a little deeper and get to know each other well. In the fall, I'm going to have it on Thursday nights and Saturday midday sessions so that there's flexibility there. You can one or the other, and so I just basically, if there's anything I can do to help you, please reach out. Like I really, I would love to do whatever I can to support you, basically.
Okay, cool. And what would you say the biggest, like, out of what we've been talking about, like the biggest message or nugget or gem that they can take away from?
Yeah, nugget or gem. And I'm sorry, I didn't really answer the last question.
No, it's all good. It's all good. That's cool. That's cool.
I think it's just super important I think the nugget is that, like, mini rituals, like, self-care doesn't have to be a big undertaking. It can be something very simple, and just realizing to take some time for yourself, even if it's just a couple seconds. I think that is the most important thing.
Well, definitely. Okay, so we're going to end it right there. So, again, let everybody know where they can find you. Set your links out.
Yeah. So it's Linktree. It's, so linktr.ee/natural_beauties. And that's it.
Okay, cool. All right, y'all check Stephanie out, and we thank you for coming on. Glad that we'll love to have you back. Until next time, y'all, we out of here.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. If you are looking for fitness coaching to help you reach your goals, want to join our animated network for fitness guidance, collaboration, networking, and community, or are interested in being a guest on the show, check out the links in the description. Stay creative, stay fit, and we'll holler at you next time.